saw him leave the game kind of holding his side early on yesterday.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine for Wednesday. Yeah.
How about RJ? Where's he at in his timeline?
He week to 10 days. We're hoping to have him back. Yep.
Seems like you guys have started to run more of the flow offense, like you had talked about maybe a month ago or so, that you guys had been building up to that. I'm just curious about like the return on that. I know you talked a lot in the past about points per possession, and what's been the return on that as compared to you running a lot of that high ball screen offense earlier in the season?
Yeah, excuse me, it has gotten much more efficient. You know, and thinking back to our conversation at that time, Cole, the experience for Tristan and Ismail and Will, and I know we touched on that. You know, Will being here a year ago gives him a little bit of a head start, but still not the same level of experience that Titan and Huddy would have had last year, where that thing just gets, you know, it really gets side to side, and that's what puts the most pressure on the defense, is the ability to get that ball, you know, as Ty and Huddy did so well for us a year ago. Yeah, the experience of those three players is made it. It just made it much more efficient, right? So those numbers have gone up. I don't have a number for you, right? But those numbers have gone up, and you know, Tristan is doing things now that he wasn't doing 2 weeks ago, and he certainly wasn't doing a month ago. So just the feel and the understanding, and then that leads to the confidence to be able to make some of the plays that he's making right now. So it is, yeah, it's we're using it more, right? And it's certainly been better. And again, so much of it revolves around those three players. Kyle's really good in flow. The way he moves and the way he communicates, his ability to get in and out of handoffs, in and out of ball screens, slipping, and we loop him on some actions. So he's been that way all year. It's the experience and the reps that the other three, being Will, Izzy, and Tristan. Right? Yeah, so it's been good. I've liked the growth there and the progress that we made there.
What did you like most about yesterday's performance from you guys?
Our half court, our recognition of their actions in the half court, Nelly. You know, as they were getting into things, and it happened to be, you know, when Tristan went out with the injury, Kyle went in and ended up playing, I think, the last 17 minutes of the first half, and his communication really led us in terms of recognizing what they were running, right? And I felt like we beat them to a lot of spots. We were able to take away, you know, a number of things in the half court that Evansville was running and working to get, and then just overall, I would say, you know, the half court defense. You know, you're recognizing and taking away some of the actions, and then the other piece is pretty heavy with the ball screen. A lot of middle ball screen that Evansville's running, and you know, with Benny and with Leon, with Trey was on the shooter a little bit more, but with Benny and with Leon and with Max, being able to guard that ball screen, in some cases by themselves, that really made a difference for us with our half-court defense.
Seeing Ishmael getting a lot more time right now. What's he doing that you see right now that maybe he wasn't doing a month ago?
Yeah, his much more physical around the basket. Okay? Better, you know, finishing with some contact. The physicality at the defensive end of the floor. The way he's defending the ball screen out on the three-point line, down in a stance, and really active and recognizing it sooner, getting in better position. You know, and you know, a lot of that is tied to the confidence you're playing with and how hard you're playing. Right? You know, he can do a lot of things, right? And he's finding out that he's capable of doing even more when it comes to the defensive end of the floor and being more physical and getting out and showing on a ball screen and getting back and covering the post. He can do all of that, right? And he's made a lot of strides there. What
kind of challenge will Belmont bring into Cedar Falls on Wednesday night?
Yeah, they're good at both ends. So Lundblade's one of the best shooters in the country. You know, I think for those of us that follow it closely, you know, he's, you know, most nights he's getting, you know, 9 or 10. You know, he took 11 threes the other night. He took 14. You know, when you're getting against league teams, and you're getting 11 threes off, you're getting 14 threes off. That's hard to do. Okay, that number of attempts, and obviously he's shooting a tremendous percentage. I think he's making somewhere between 4 and 5 threes a game, and so a lot of it starts with him. But the thing that they did, that Casey did, was did a terrific job with his roster. He in the spring, he was able to bring back the majority of their players, and they had some really good young players a year ago, and those guys all came back, and some of the older guys did as well. You know, like Lundblade, who's now in his I think his 5th year. So it's an experienced team. It's a team that's played together a lot, going back to a year ago. I think that's been something that's been real positive for their team. Sharnowski's really improved from a year ago at the center position. You know, he showed some flashes last year, but then he was out for some stretches. But man, has he been effective? You know, blocking shots at one end, scoring around the rim at the other end. Really active with what he's doing. I really like their lineup. I could keep going with their guys. Orm, if it's Orm or Ormy, so I don't mispronounce it. He has missed a couple games, and I'm not sure what the reason is, but he's missed a couple games for him. He was back, I think, yesterday, and played some. He's almost 6'9", and he makes threes, and he puts it on the floor, and he passes it. And so, and then one of their forwards against Bradley was just, man, he was all over the offensive glass. Defensively, he was terrific. So I really like, as you can, I think, tell, I really like their lineup, like their roster. And that goes back to Casey and his staff, you know, keeping the majority of their guys. So their experience level, their skill level, the size and length. And then I would tell you, with Indiana State just being a couple games ago, some similar things that we saw with Indiana State offensively, right? And we had, obviously, in the first half, we had a lot of trouble with it. Right? So we're gonna have to guard. It's very similar. Right? A lot of flow stuff that we run. Right? A lot of same actions that you see. It's just that Belmont's got a high skill level, you know, at all the positions, and their pace is really, really good. And then you get, you know, Lundblade he's a magnet. You know, and you've got to stay really close to him. If you don't stay really close to him, he's gonna get free, and it just takes a split second for him to get it off. Anytime you have that, there's more room on the floor for the other 4 players. And Belmont has got a really good roster. So, you know, the other 4 guys on the floor can play. And so if you get, you know, you've got to find a way to limit Lundblade's attempts, which is hard to do. If you put too much of your energy and emphasis on that, it's a lot of space on the floor for the other 4 players. So a lot of challenges there.
Go ahead, Cole.
Be it you or the assistant as the scout,